Welcome to the Urantia book read-through. Every time you make a higher decision, you do two things simultaneously. The first is that you up your standing in the universe. You are now more qualified to take on larger tasks, more responsibilities, and perceive more of the glory. This might be in another life, or it may be in this one. The second thing that happens is that you save yourself out of some hardship down the road when you make a higher choice or a higher decision. It can even be something like saying no to the second drink and not getting into a drunk driving accident. Well, looking at this Urantia book is definitely a higher choice. This is something that is involved with spirituality, contemplating God, and synthesizing that into our own life. So we're continuing on with our read through. Remember, we are in a complicated section. So what I'm going to do, I think, is alternate the videos back and forth. We'll do a complicated one, and then we'll go to the other parts of the book where things are not as heady, as I call it. Okay, so we are on page 8, Personality Realities. Personality is a level of deified reality and ranges from the mortal and midwayer level of the higher mind activation of worship and wisdom up through the morontial and spiritual to the attainment of finality of personality status. That is the evolutionary ascent of mortal and kindred creature personality, but there are numerous other orders of universe personalities. Reality is subject to universal expansion, personality to infinite diversification, and both are capable of well-nigh unlimited deity coordination and eternal stabilization. While the metamorphic range of non-personal reality is definitely limited, we know of no limitations to the progressive evolution of personality realities. On attained experiential levels, all personality orders or values are associable and even co-creational. Even God and man can coexist in a unified personality, as is so exquisitely demonstrated in the present status of Christ Michael, Son of Man and Son of God. All sub-infinite orders and phases of personality are associative attainables and are potentially co-creational. The personal, the pre-personal, the personal, and superpersonal are all linked together by mutual potential of coordinate attainment, progressive achievement, and co-creational capacity. But never does this impersonal directly transmute to the personal. Personality is never spontaneous. It is the gift of the Paradise Father. Personality is superimposed upon energy, and it is associated only with living energy systems. Identity can be associated with non-living energy systems. The Universal Father is the secret of reality personality, the bestowal of personality, and the destiny of personality. The Eternal Son is absolute personality, the secret of spiritual energy, morontia spirits, and perfected spirits. The conjoint actor is the spirit-mind personality, the source of intelligence, reason, and the universal mind. But the Isle of Paradise is non-personal and extra-spiritual, being the essence of the universal body, the source and center of physical matter, the absolute master pattern of universe material reality. These qualities of universe reality are manifest in Urantian human experience on the following levels. 1. Body, the material or physical organism of man, the living electrochemical mechanism of animal nature and origin. 2. Mind, the thinking, perceiving, and feeling mechanism of human organism, the total conscious and unconscious experience, the intelligent as associated with the emotional life, reaching upward through worship and wisdom to the spirit level. 3. Spirit, the divine spirit that indwells the mind of man, the thought adjuster, This immortal spirit is pre-personal. It's not a personality. They're destined to become a part of the personality of the surviving mortal creature. 4. Soul. The soul of man is an experiential acquirement. As mortal creature chooses to do the will of the Father in heaven, as we were talking about earlier in the video, so the indwelling spirit becomes the father of a new reality in human experience. The mortal and material mind is the mother of this same emerging reality. The substance of this new reality is neither material nor spiritual. It is morontial. This is the emerging and immortal soul which is destined to survive mortal death and begin the paradise ascension. Personality. The personality of mortal man is neither body, mind, nor spirit. Neither is it the soul. Personality is the one changeless reality and an otherwise ever-changing creature experience, and it unifies all other associated factors of individuality. The personality is the unique bestowal which the Universal Father makes upon the living and associated energies of matter, mind, and spirit, and which survives with the survival of the mortal soul. Morontia is a term designating a vast level of intervening between the material and spiritual. It may designate personal or impersonal realities, living or non-living energies. The warp of Morontia is spiritual, its woof is physical. Okay, so there is a lot of really juicy tidbits in this passage here, personal realities. The first part, it's saying, keep in mind that they're basically splitting the universe into two things. There's personal and then there's non-personal. And they're saying that the non-personal never just spontaneously becomes the personal. Personality is its own separate thing, which is always bestowed by the Universal Father. In other words, the first person of deity, not the second person of deity. However, the second person of deity, it's different than Christ Michael. Christ Michael is the son of the Trinity, whereas the second person of deity, the eternal Son, is the second person of the Trinity. But they're one and the same. It's a paradoxically, if you've seen the Son, you've seen the Father. There's this kind of synthesis in deity there. And the eternal Son is the absolute personality, okay? It is like you know, the best example of personality, and perfected spirits, okay? And the conjoint actor, the third person of deity in the Trinity, is where the mind is his domain, okay? Or her. It doesn't matter. That is more mind and how mind is associating with personality in terms of personality. So you're having these different levels of, it's really interesting to understand the Father is the personality circuit, the Son is the spirit circuit, the third person, which they call the conjoined actor or third person of deity, is the mind circuit. And then paradise here, they're saying, is representative of the physical circuit. Okay, paradise is where gravity is has its origin. And then, so that's the universe. Then within man, they're saying we have these different aspects as well. Body, okay? And remember, a body is not personality, and even a mind is not personality unless it gives the gift bestowed upon it by the Universal Father, right? So man has body, right? We know what that is. Man has mind. We know what that is. And remember, mind can attain the universal mind. Mind can reach up to that level of the conjoint actor, which is the third person of deity, right? Along this mind circuit. 3, spirit. Okay, so we're indwelt by a divine fragment of God, and that's a different gift than our personality. That spirit is pre-personal. which means it's before a personality, right? Pre meaning, not yet kind of thing. Because we are the personality. That spirit fragment is already perfected entity. It hails from paradise. It's another gift from the divine. And we, however, are the personality, and we are to both merge if we choose that. If we use our free will choice to merge with that fragment, that spirit, then together, well, that spirit brings the eternity to the table, right? It brings the perfection to the table. We bring the personality to the table. Your own unique personality that is not, it's not duplicated anywhere in the whole entire universe. And then soul is this fourth aspect of us, which is different than the spirit. The soul is the evolving aspect that evolves as we make decisions towards becoming more enlightened, more godly, doing the Father's will in heaven, as they say it, which is a quote. So keep in mind, the soul is the evolving aspect of us. It was born when we were born. This is a new entity in this universe, this unique soul. The spirit is ageless. That might be the thing when people say, like, they talk about reincarnation and stuff like that. What they're referring to is the spirit in there. Now, the soul, this is different than the concept of reincarnation that we think that we did many, many lives here on Earth, because the Urantia book is pointing out that no, this is your first life on Earth, which makes sense to me, because I feel like if I did many, many lives on Earth, I would be much better at it by this point, and I'm really quite not. So it just doesn't make sense to enter in 4th grade and then wipe the student's memory of 3rd grade, right? My memories start when I was, 2nd, and what am I going to do? Some deep hypnosis in order to try to remember that I'm Cleopatra in a past life or something like that. See, that's where the book is saying, like, that's too flighty. It doesn't really serve any purpose. That's not really doing anything for you to, be like, oh, I was Cleopatra. Well, now, you're a tech representative that works at Kinko's or something. You know what I mean? So deal with that, But within that, you have, and the reason that people are able to tap into that Cleopatra and things like that is because we're indwelt by a spirit of perfection, and we have the ability to use that in order to tap into the cosmic mind, that universal mind circuit. So I can attain facts that were beyond my own individual life in the flesh. But remember, nothing is more important than your status sphere, meaning here and now is what we're dealing with. We don't want to be, the past is dead and the future is imaginary. What we have is the eternal now moment. But what's wrapped up in that is the past and the future. Okay? It's the eternal now. Okay. So, and then lastly, I'll point out, so that's personality, right? And then they say the last, beyond soul, you also have personality. So there's these various endowments. Now, morontia, that term is going to pop up a lot in this book. It's a new term that we didn't have a concept before in our language, so they've created a new term, and that is the intervening gateway between the material and the spiritual. So you think of it as levels. Here we are at the material level, our starting out point. Then after this life, we move on to the morontial, and we have many worlds and many lives there, each being an advancement, okay, at our own pace, an advancement, and remembering the steps that you had already retraced behind that, not this starting over concept, being a blade of grass, this time being a cow, blah, blah, blah. You're just on this progression as you. This is your starting out point, and then you're going to enter the morontia phase. And then once you learn all of the vast lessons, things that they try to describe later in the book, but they say there's really no real way that you have anything to compare it to. But then you're going to enter the spiritual aspect of your career in essence, okay? But that doesn't mean that while in the material, you don't have to think about spiritual or do it at all. Remember, because you are indwelt by that spirit right now. So you can really start to prepare for these journeys, but it's not being caught up in the future, because every time that you do make a small and minor choice to seek the spiritual over the purely material or over some sort of vice, exchange a vice for a virtue, then you're upping your status in this very moment, and you're going to experience effects right here and right now, whether they be mental clarity, physical effects, more health, better relationships, less toxic relationships, more peace, more love. So don't wait in order to embark upon your spiritual career. However, it is virtually a never-ending experience. Well, it is never-ending if you choose that path. Okay, folks, take care. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next time. We'll do something a little bit different.